Competition is fierce in the used car arena, so how can you ensure that your pre-owned inventory stands above the rest? Success starts with the quality of your leads. Auto Trader for Independents offers products that help drive high-quality leads for independent dealers like you.
Welcome to Used Car News Podcast. Used Car News is your top source for fast and reliable news that car dealers can rely on for this evolving industry. Here are this month's top stories. Edmunds names 5-star dealers. FTC supports right to repair law, and Toyota recalls Tacoma. Plus, special guest Joe Miller, former Auto IMS employee and founder of Awareness to Action Coaching.
Hello, this is the Used Car News Podcast, and I'm your host, Jeffrey Ballant, managing editor of Used Car News. Today's guest is someone you're probably familiar with if you've been to the remarketing conferences like the Conference of Automotive Remarketing or the IARA, and that's Joe Miller. Welcome, Joe.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. Good to see you.
Well, thanks for having Joe Miller here. I appreciate you. People will know Joe from his experience at Auto IMS, but now he's got a new venture, and we're actually going to learn more about it at CAR. But first, I want to start, Joe, for those who don't know your background. Tell us about your background, your schooling, how you got into this industry.
Sure, yeah. I mean, first the earth cooled, and then the dinosaurs came. Yeah. But no, I started off in IT. I went to Virginia Tech and got a marketing degree actually at Virginia Tech, because you go to an engineering school for marketing. Pretty good business school, actually. And then I locked into my first gig, which was with a company called Gartner, which is a pretty well-known IT research and advisory company. It was a great resume builder, cut my teeth in sales. Some folks that I worked with there went up to grow another venture in a similar vein, more of a consulting company. That got me into professional services. They hired me on. That broke me into marketing. And then one thing leads to another, 2008, 2009, slightly volatile economy, that kind of thing.
A little bit, yeah.
But I met Don Meadows at Auto IMS through a celebration dinner as the Copart lawsuit had settled.
Okay.
So for one reason or another, I was involved and got to meet Don and team. And he had asked me what I did and what I do. And he didn't really understand it, but he hired me anyway. So
They hired you to do what at Auto IMS when you first got there?
So he had in mind sort of a new phase of leadership and growth coming out of the customer service department, really. Auto IMS was very fortunate. As you know, so many of the commercial remarketers, the institutional consigners, and most of the major auctions are connected to Auto IMS. So with that captive market, it wasn't about like being a hunter salesperson. They didn't need that. But we did want to take really, really good care of our clients. And so Don brought me in to evaluate under the guise kind of evaluating one of the products we had, which was a repossession management feature. But as I got to know everyone and settled in, he asked me to lead the client support team, or what became the client support team. And that just grew over the years. And we kind of morphed it into customer success or client success, which was really all the marketing, sales, and service functions, and really some of the product too of the company.
What was your interest? What did you enjoy doing in that role?
So many things. But as I reflect, a couple things that I've always said to people, I'll never hesitate to say, which is one, I just got to have an impact. So I not only did I get to, we had a small team, and so we were pretty tight, but we developed great relationships with our clients. And even just going to an auction and conducting a training, or working on like a pretty transformational project, a technology transformation with like a large bank, for example. These are different ends of the spectrum, but you would see massive, massive change. And as a result, you develop these great relationships. So I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but I really enjoyed being a part of that mix. It was a lot of fun.
For sure. It sounds like it. And it's interesting, a guy from a marketing background is someone who doesn't have a technical background either, for you to get into this part of the industry where you are kind of dealing with everything.
I was just lucky, in automotive for some reason, I guess it's kind of how we all get around, but automotive sucks you in, and remarketing especially is this interesting niche. So, felt very lucky to get sort of my mini MBA in remarketing from Don Meadows. I spent an hour a day or more in his office for the first 2 years of my AutoIMS tenure.
Oh, yeah.
And he just downloaded everything, almost maybe too much. But then just getting to know so many luminaries in the industry and the role that we played, listen, I've never been shy. So I just got to know people, and it's such a relationship business, and it makes it so rewarding.
Yeah, I know my boss, Colleen Fitzgerald, our publishers, obviously knows Don Meadows from way back as well. So that's interesting. And obviously you have to be a people person in marketing, but you end up being a people person in this business for sure. We see the same faces over the years, and everybody kind of moves around, but a lot of people stay in the industry for a while.
I think we value connection just inherently as humans, right? I mean, part of this is the coaching training starting to come through, but I think our industry especially recognizes that we're better together. And while there are fierce competitors and there are some relationships that go sideways,
right.
Those are some small casualties or just part of the mix. But at the end of the day, you're right, that connection is so important.
Now, you were with AutoIMS how long?
14 years.
And when did you, now let's go move into the present here. When did you move into this new venture? What was your thinking? Because that's a big change going from where you were and all the things that you spoke about that you were involved with. AutoIMS, a big firm like that, and now you're kind of venturing off on your own.
Have you heard that old saying? I forget if it was Henry Ford or who, some old industry luminary. He goes, what if we train our people and they leave? And then we say, well, what if we don't train them and they stay? Well, I was kind of a product of both of those ways of thinking, for better or for worse. As rosy as my time at AutoIMS was all 14 years, early on, I was not as effective as I could have been or wanted to be. And as Don and then Mike Bro came along and Venkat after Mike kind of asked me to do more and trusted me to do more, that came with some real responsibility. And I didn't always live up to it. My instincts and my gut, my tendencies weren't always best in service to the people that I led or even my clients.
Oh, that's a challenge. Yeah.
Right. And so, I found myself beating my head against the wall. But years ago, under Mike Bro's tenure, actually, he brought in a coach for a few of us. And you know what? He never positioned it as remedial.
Right.
But there's this thing about coaching, that, when you have this third party perspective, this gentleman named Ron Young, and I'll talk more about it in my keynote at CAR, but he just helped me see myself in a different way. And really part of that was just giving me the space to talk through what it was I was trying to accomplish and what was working and what wasn't. And then we would role play a little bit. We'd work inside out, outside in, but I had a lot of time with this very, very talented and professional and experienced coach. At some point, I realized my effectiveness was going up, and it would have kept going up had I stayed. And I did stay for a while, actually, but I realized I want what that guy's got. One of the most enlightening things for me was, gosh, the change I saw in myself. And that continues today. I want to be able to help others in that way. Nice. And at AutoIMS, I had 7 employees, right. Many people can I help? They were getting tired of me. And at some point I looked at never thought I'd be able to get done what I really thought was possible at AutoIMS. And at one day I looked in the mirror, I said, I think that's about what I can do. I should make room for others.
It's funny. I always think about, sports like that, coaching, like Chuck Daly for the Pistons in Detroit over here got to a point, as great a coach he was, he got to a point, he said at some point, they just stopped listening to you. You know what I mean? In terms of being with that same group forever and ever. And so I see that's the intrigue or the interest of spreading your wings and going out.
Yeah. And when you get a calling and then you couple that with being just the luckiest person in the world. My partner is very successful. We don't have kids. We're able to kind of have the financial backing to start something new, or let me go start something new. Yeah. And so I went off and found the company that I wanted to do my accredited education with. And actually, while I was at AutoIMS, not only did I get coached, I took coaching training. But that's a coach approach. You're still a person's manager, right? So I started managing differently, but you're not exactly their coach. You still have to tell them what to do sometimes, This part of my education was really about being a professional certified coach. And so as that wraps up, I'm getting close to the number of hours I need to get the certification that is the first level of certification from the International Coaches Federation. There's a lot of people coaching that don't have that certification, and I'm sure many of them are great. That's fine. I believe in everything that the ICF stands for and what that certification stands for. And I also have a lot of faith, because I have to, in really the discipline, the formal discipline and profession of coaching. Coaching is actually quite simple, but it's quite hard.
Right.
And so it's one of those things. But when you trust it, and when you put the fundamentals to work and then add your own spice mix, really pretty special things start to happen. So I've really enjoyed cutting my teeth and working as a professional full-time coach now.
So when did you make that transition? When did you finally depart Auto IMS, for folks who weren't familiar?
The end of June last year. It's going to be my 1-year anniversary anytime now. And then over the course of the late summer and the fall, I worked on popping up my LLC, signing up and starting that coaching training. And that's an ongoing process. It takes a while.
Right, I bet.
So yeah.
What's the name of your company?
The name of the company is Coach U.
Coach U. Okay, great. What is your focus? What is your desire? What are you looking to do? Why would they come to you? What is your focus?
Sure. The nice thing about coaching is that it has a pretty broad applicability if you let it. And they say you should coach 100 different people before you pick a niche. And a lot of people do pick niches. And I'm sure I will at some point. Right now, the people who are coming to me and who I'm having success with and really enjoying working with are kind of that second and third tier manager, right? So they're not necessarily the CEO, the C-suite, if you will. But these are people that are maybe a little bit newer to management. They're managing both up and down. They're figuring out, think about it, Jeff. It's the people who get tapped to lead teams were often great team members. Well, right. The sales is the age-old example, but it happens with engineering, and it happens in every discipline in a company. I'm good at engineering, and now they made me the engineering manager. Yep. Being a good manager is a totally different skill set. Yep. So I love helping people navigate their success, right? Coaching isn't remedial on its face, but when a person raises their hand and they're at a time in their life and they say, I want to do this, I know I can, I'm just not completely sure how or what the best thing is. A good coach helps them tap into their expertise and develop their mission, their point of view, figure out what their values are, their purpose. And with that tapped, that turns into the motivation and really the tools. They can then go get the skills, the specific techniques and all of that stuff as they go.
Holy cow, you got me jacked up here.
All right.
So how many clients do you have? I understand it's brand new. You're in the business. You are fortunate enough to be in a business for a long time, that you've obviously met a lot of people, and being a marketing person, that helps. But you have a few clients already, I assume?
I do, yeah. I've got a couple of business clients where the business is paying me to work with their folks, several of their folks. And I've got some individual clients, people who were old clients of mine at Auto IMS, or people that were sort of loose colleagues, one way or the other. But, I've worked with a few people for a little while and stopped. And then I've got some folks who I think we've done what we need to do. And they go, no, I want to keep going. And so I won't tell you that my calendar is full right now. Right. I've purposely slow walked my onboarding here, my business development, but for sure, yeah. That is going to ramp up significantly. I'm literally right now coming into this phase, and I'm looking at the car conference as sort of a threshold to walk through, a doorway, if you will, where I've got really quite a bit of confidence, but also, as you can tell, passion and energy around this discipline. And I'm also now with the core part of the education behind me, I've got all sorts of more time ahead of me. So, I'm going to be building that client base much more robustly over the next few months, and hopefully filling the calendar.
Competition is fierce in the used car arena, so how can you ensure that your pre-owned inventory stands above the rest? Success starts with the quality of your leads. Auto Trader for Independents offers products that help drive high-quality leads for independent dealers like you.
Let's move on to the car conference, which is at the end of the month. It's in Phoenix this year, March 24th through 28th, or 26th through 28th. I got that correct?
Yeah.
Now, here you are, a guy who I've known through the years as a panelist and a moderator at conferences like CAR. Now you are given the keynote position. What is it, without giving away everything? What are you going to focus on? What is your theme for that presentation?
Yeah, sure. And just before I give you some inside baseball on the theme, I'll just tell you that when the IRA approached me they partner with Bobbitt to create
Right.
the car conference, right? So, or on the content. So
And that's the International Automotive Remarketers Alliance for people who don't know. So
yes, thank you. And Mark Coleman, their executive director, and several of the board members, Tom Stewart, Cynthia Meyer. There's just some wonderful people over there who've been so supportive of me. When they asked me to be one of the keynotes at the conference, I really hesitated. I said, first of all, as a coach, I'm very hesitant to give advice. That sounds funny, but coaches don't give advice. I mean, very rarely are we in the advice business. It's more about pulling it out of the coachee, right?
Okay, all right.
And so the whole idea of a keynote, I'm also not a great teacher. So the whole idea of a keynote of just sort of spewing, here's what I think, didn't resonate with me at first.
Okay.
But so much has come through this transition that there are a lot of opinions I hold dear and sort of guiding principles that I really stand by. So as I thought more about that, I evaluated for several days. I thought, listen, I think it's this discomfort that makes I should do this, right?
Right, exactly.
And in writing this speech, it's given me a lot of opportunity to really sort of hone in on some things that are very important to me. And the topic is called kind mirrors. That metaphor, it's a metaphor that was given to me by one of my coach trainers. A coach should be a kind mirror. It's all about helping you gain new perspective, clarity, reflection on yourself, right?
Oh, I like that. Okay.
As I thought about that, I thought, Jeff, it's incumbent upon all of us to recognize where we're getting these reflections. Unfortunately, most people don't have the luxury of a coach. It's typically the luxury of the rich, actually. And that's one of the things I'm trying to change. I'd like to bring coaching to more people, but we all have decisions that we're making every day based on the interactions we're having. How you're looking at me right now, what I'm reflecting to you, what I will go and look in the mirror after this is done and tell myself about how it went, right? The comments, the thousands of comments we will get when you post this podcast to and wherever else you post it. These are all reflections, and it's different than saying, what do people think of me? Or what are these people doing to me? Or what do I want them to do? It's more about, how are these people in service to me? How am I in service to them? What can I glean? What can I learn? What are the reflections I'm getting all around me? And so I have a bunch of stories and a bunch of deep emotional thoughts about this, and I'm going to try to keep it together and share that from the stage at CAR.
Excellent. Also, let me ask you a question. I assume you got to be a book guy if you're a learner and a coach like that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what are some of the books or even some of the thinkers or people that have influenced you that maybe people might be familiar with or not?
Sure. Yeah, actually, I'll give you a few. One is, I think his name is Arthur C. Brooks. He wrote Strength to Strength. Well, that's a very popular book. If people haven't read that, read it. If you want a cheat sheet, go find my YouTube page. I did a 25-minute or so recap of that book.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to keep doing those. That was nice because I just made this transition, right? And I'm sort of middle-aged, and so that's what that book's all about.
Yeah. You look about 25, but I get you. You're middle-aged.
I'm telling you, pursuing passion and just the right amount of bourbon. It just kind of keeps everything.
Exactly.
Another one that I really liked that most people, I think, would skip right past based on the title.
Okay.
It's called Leadership and Self-Deception. I forget who the author is, and I apologize.
Hey, leadership.
But the people who wrote this book have several books. In fact, another coach friend of mine just said Outward Mindset is another book. I'm going to go get it next that they wrote. But this book it's so powerful and so simple. It's an easy, interesting read the way that they wrote it, but it really helps you tap into a new way of thinking about being in service to the people.
Is that the Arbinger Institute? Does that sound right?
Yes, that's the one.
Just look it up.
Real-time Googling over there.
Yes, that helps, right? As opposed to arguing in the bar, about something. Well, that's excellent. Those are great choices. I always enjoy. I know we all like to learn. I mean, if you're in any type of business, you like to learn. So this is really good. So folks, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add or anything you wanted to leave folks with before we go.
You know what I'll say is I think we've said it all, Jeff, and I really appreciate the forum here. But I've been encouraged by some of the kind mirrors in my life to just go ahead and throw it out there. If people are thinking about how a coach could help them in their lives, if you've got that little feeling somewhere in your chest that there's more for you, if you're successful, but you want to make sure you've got kind of a lens on what's making you successful, if what you're not sure if what got you here will get you to the next phase, I'll just throw it out there. I am open for business. The first meeting is always free. It's totally risk-free. We can feel each other out. I'll tell you what coaching is all about, my approach to it. People can ask me all the questions they want, decide if they want to move forward. But I would love to help, especially the young and upcoming leaders out there who are looking for an extra perspective.
So if people aren't going to be at IARA or CAR and they still want to find something out about you, what would they look up?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I have not gone the website route yet. I just don't feel like there's enough to put out there, and we're all on LinkedIn. So Awareness to Action Coaching is the name of my business on LinkedIn. You can find me there, or just find me, Joseph C. Miller, on LinkedIn. Joe@a2acoach.com is my email address.
Perfect.
Feel free to use it.
Well, that's great. Again, Joe, I've always gotten a lot out of your insights and your moderation or your moderating panels over the years. So I look forward to your new venture and learning more about it. And I appreciate spending time sitting with Used Car News. And I wish you luck in your keynote at the end of the month. Again, that's at CAR IARA in Arizona, and that'll be at the end of the month. And
can't wait to see everyone there. Yep.
From Used Car News, we appreciate you, Joe Miller. Take care.
Thanks so much, Jeff.
Competition is fierce in the used car arena, so how can you ensure that your pre-owned inventory stands above the rest? Success starts with the quality of your leads. Auto Trader for Independents offers products that help drive high-quality leads for independent dealers like you.
In automotive news, Edmunds, a leading online car shopping resource, has unveiled the winners of its highly anticipated 2024 5-Star Dealer Awards. Recognizing excellence in customer satisfaction, this year's awards honor 133 dealers nationwide, with 11 receiving the prestigious 5-Star Premier Dealer designation. Seth Berkowitz, president of Edmunds, highlighted the importance of positive shopping experiences amidst affordability challenges in the automotive industry. Dealers earning these accolades have demonstrated exceptional service and dedication to their customers. To qualify, dealers must meet strict criteria, including minimum sales reviews and average customer ratings. For a complete list of winners, visit the Edmunds Industry Center, where 5-star dealerships are listed by state. Discover where exceptional service meets automotive excellence today. Today, the Federal Trade Commission voiced its support for proposed legislation in Colorado aimed at expanding right-to-repair laws to digital electronic equipment, specifically targeting parts pairing restrictions. Parts pairing, where manufacturers control replacement parts integration, can drive up repair costs or push consumers toward new purchases. Christine M. Todaro, representing the FTC, highlighted the agency's effort to combat such restrictions, citing their adverse impact on consumers and repair markets. The FTC's testimony referenced its 2021 report to Congress, debunking manufacturers' justifications for repair limitations. The proposed legislation, HB 24-1121, aligns with the FTC's goal of promoting competitive repair markets and ensuring consumer access to affordable repairs. With unanimous approval, the FTC stands behind this initiative, signaling a broader commitment to addressing repair restrictions nationwide. Toyota Motor Engineering and Manufacturing is recalling certain 2022 and 23 Tacoma vehicles. The axle shaft sub-assembly may separate from the axle housing due to debris causing improperly secured fasteners. The NHTSA campaign number is 24V152000. The potential number of units affected is 381,199. Dealers will inspect the rear axle assembly, tighten the axle retaining nuts as necessary, and repair or replace any damaged components free of charge. Owner notification letters are expected to be mailed April 13th. Toyota's numbers for this recall are 24TB05 and 24TA05. Thanks for listening to Used Car News Podcast. Each month, we'll bring you fast and reliable news that car dealers can rely on for this evolving industry. For a free subscription of Used Car News, please go to usedcarnews.com. This podcast is a production of BG Ad Group. Make sure to share us on social media and like and follow wherever you get your podcasts.
Competition is fierce in the used car arena, so how can you ensure that your pre-owned inventory stands above the rest? Success starts with the quality of your leads. Auto Trader for Independents offers products that help drive high-quality leads for independent dealers like you.